AnoAni. We still don't know the name of the anime we saw on that day. I can see it on the screen, so I don't have to remember it by rote. This is the quarterly-ish anime recap and look ahead podcast here on the mighty Loading Ready Run video and audio entertainment network. Hey, I'm Ian, and I'm here to talk to you about anime. Joining me today is the rest of the Weeb team. We've got...
Hi, I'm Cori.
Hi, I'm Heather.
And hi, I'm Beej.
We're all called Hi.
I did not say hi, so no.
Okay. I will allow it. Should we start off with our picks of 2017? Because I'm a little bit, shall we say, lacking in that department.
So, just to be clear, because this is the summation of all that happened.
So not just 2017, but specifically the fall 2017 picks of what we enjoyed from the last season.
Did you have anything?
I did not. I found this season, in general, pretty...
lacking in the stuff you like?
Yeah.
That's fair. It happens.
That's all right.
How about you, Beej?
I'm going to actually open then with Anime Gataris, which is a... and it's funny because it's like, was this an amazing show? No, but it was a fun show, and it was about a girl who, it's all high school students, and it's about a girl who discovers going into high school that anime is a thing that people can still like, and she remembers that she had an anime that she loved when she was really, really, really young.
Does she remember the name?
No, she doesn't.
Yes!
And that's kind of the thing, is that she realizes, she's like, I remember this thing, but why can't I remember what it actually is?
I love TV shows that take place in a conceit where the internet doesn't exist.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no.
The thing is,
the
that
internet exists in this, and she does that thing
where she talks about it and people don't know, but also because she doesn't know a thing about otaku internet, she's not going to go on there and ask. She's just kind of like, I will never know what the name of this anime is I saw on that day.
Even the otaku
that she meets in school
who use the internet are like, we don't know what this show is you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like I've had that happen in genuine conversations and circumstances where someone's like, there was a robot and it was yellow.
Yep.
What anime?
Pat labor.
And it was like Voltron? Like
No, it was like Spheria or some other nonsense.
In this anime that she saw, there's a giant robot, there's a magical girl, an old man gets shot, and then taken up to the heavens by angels.
There is a talking cat that only she can see. Well, not see. She's a talking cat that only talks to her. And then also she has a best friend who likes to run track. And in every episode, at least once, they make sure to like zoom in on her friend's ass or legs or something. And the thing is, it's so blatant.
Are you sure you didn't watch Devilman?
No, I'm sure. It's so blatant. It's clearly parodying the trope, because this student has nothing to do with the entire show, but she shows up at least once before they cut to the thing.
Just to be...
Yeah, just to be like, oh, we have to get this in here because that's what anime is about. And that's what the show is about. The show is about what anime is about. And it gets to a point where it's like, anime is about a whole bunch of things, and holy shit, what does that actually mean? Like, it's about way too much stuff. And what happens when the whole world starts to become like anime?
Is this like baby's first acceptance of other people's likes and dislikes?
It's more about like it's more about like the there's so much that goes on in anime that there might just be a show that you will like if you're kind of like there. It's like, oh, I'm not into this anime thing. It's like, yeah, that's fine, but you might actually end up liking this because it's about stories, right? And it's constantly just skewering tropes over and over and over, because it's just like, hey, this thing, well, guess what? We're going to throw that in there.
It does the trope, but then it doesn't actually fully do the trope. Like, the first episode, she runs into another girl because she's talking to her friend about trying to remember this anime, and she's just like, I hear you like anime, and she's like, sure, not really, but she's like an Oji-sama, and she's just like embarrassed.
And she can summon her butler with a snap of her fingers, that kind of thing, right?
But then it's like, oh, well, you should join the anime club, because there was one, but it doesn't exist anymore. And instead of main character being like, I should make an anime club, she turns to the person who actually likes anime. It's like, you should make an anime club and become president.
And then I can join it. And then they end up getting like one of their senpai who also likes anime. She likes cosplay. She shows up and they said, no, you should be the president. She's like, but I'm a third year. It's like, doesn't matter. You should be the president. And then the evil student council shows up within the first two episodes and like, we're shutting this anime club down. Like, it is basically every trope you've ever seen with this kind of thing. And it's all on purpose. and it's all meant to be like, hey, you know all this shit that you see? Well, we're gonna throw it all in the show.
Oh, so one of
And
the
I really
things-
liked it. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, we have a new episode of this. I can't wait to see what crazy shit they get into this week.
One of the things I really like about it is they mention a whole bunch of anime. They don't have to for a show that's being fairly generic about it. And they change all the name titles of the anime. And my favorite one is Yuri on Nice.
Yuri on Nice.
Have you
Yuri
been
on
watching
Nice.
Yuri on Nice? It's so good.
Yeah, a lot of throwaway stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, one of my picks for 2017 for fall 2017 I enjoyed. Then Heather, because you have lots.
Okay. Well, I'm going to bring up Hasaki no Kuni, which is also known as Land of the Lustrous. I brought this up actually as a pick I was looking forward to last time.
Gem World.
Where it was just like all these weird gems, and they're minerals that I was expecting a show that was going to be, here's a character who has to like do biology and figure out stuff about the world, and that doesn't happen really. She's lazy and she doesn't really want to do anything, but she wants to fight. Except she is one of the softest gems there is, so she breaks too easily. Like people could walk beside her and she cracks. And the problem with that is every time pieces of you break off, you lose memories and parts
Facets of yourself.
Yeah, you just don't remember things. And so throughout the show, there's like a kind of a character who's a bit like a doctor who's always putting them back together. But throughout the show, you learn things like that there are different types of gems and things, but like there's these people from the moon who keep coming down who have they don't look like they have soul, but they're coming down to take the gems for decorations, and so they're constantly fighting them. But then she like loses her arms or her legs at some point, and so they like graft other gemstones onto her, and she becomes different and stronger because of it, but she starts to become a completely different person because now she can't remember certain people and parts of her personality are just gone.
I did not expect to like this at all.
That sounds like a really interesting examination.
It's got its lighthearted moments, but it's mostly
I've
played
seen
as
mostly
drama.
body horror on like Twitter and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
stuff with like the
Yeah.
missing limbs and shattered people.
The author, the creator of this, she does a lot of manga, and I actually was just completely out of nowhere was actually reading a collection of stuff that she works on, and the collection I was reading. I didn't know that this was the same person. The collection that I was reading is heavily about, hey, what happens if we try to make a new human, but we make the new human from insect DNA? Or what happens if we can graft...
Hey, Beej, do you want to read Terraform Mars?
No, I don't know. But it's these things like what happens if we use plants to like regrow parts of people or to make a new person, or what does that actually mean? And this is definitely this whole thing of what happens if we can remove part of an arm from somebody and grow a new person out of it. And it's all those kind of things fit into similar themes that go on in this
There's
show.
a lot of other really interesting stuff. Like the people from the moon look very Buddhist.
Yeah, I'm
And
noticing that from
the monk person who leads them is not a gem. But humans don't exist. They specifically state that humans don't exist, that they died at one point. And there's like a legend that's like the people of the moon are like the body or spirit or something, and then like the gems are souls.
Oh no, the
And
gems are bone.
they're bone, right? The gems are bone, and then there's like another creature that's like a gem, but it's from a shell or like a crustacean of some sort, and they're like. These were kind of like these sea people who don't exist anymore because they got hunted out by the people of the moon, and there's like a weird philosophy thing going on in there
I
too.
think we're gonna have to check this
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, it's if you got to be able to like 3D CG anime because
I
Jesus.
think they do a pretty good job with it
This
in
would-
this
yeah.
one.
Yeah, no,
to be honest.
I've been watching this and it looks fine. It's
Yeah.
no
I got through Knights of Sidonia with no
it's no
problem,
Knights of
so-
Sidonia. So
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well.
Great. Cori, you have a pick from 2017.
I only have one pick, and that is Ballroom A Yokoso. Welcome to the Ballroom. It has finished off, I guess, 2 seasons at this point, or was that all just one
I think
season?
that was all
One
technically one season.
beautiful, glorious season
was-
about
Taffy people dancing.
self-discovery and working hard and
Body
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah,
expressing
no, yeah.
yourself and just learning what it feels like to have 4 legs.
Literal
Yeah.
gut punches.
The body horror portions in that show actually really freaked me out more than other shows have.
It's so beautiful.
There's so much metaphor.
And I'm not talking about the dancing portions. I'm talking about that dreamlike sequence he's got in his head with the 4 legs.
So that's
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the best part of the show.
And the artwork to this series, this is like, that you took something that I would consider to be just like the most shoujo of topics, and made a hardcore shonen anime about it. To the point where almost I would say that I've joked that this is basically the next season of JoJo's Bizarre
It's
Adventure.
very like, I mean, Shonen Jump. Their I don't know if this is a Shonen Jump show or not, but their thing is friendship, effort, victory. That's all here. It very much is kind of the classic, you know.
That's sports anime right there.
Yeah, and it's
Friendship,
effort,
victory.
victory, and that's very much how this is. Is like if you work hard enough and you can be. And of course, his thing is that he has some natural talent that they're like it's so deeply buried. But when they get a glimpse of it, they're like, oh, he actually knows how to do a couple of these things. Except that he also doesn't know. But
As you like to say, Corey, his actual talent is just hard work.
Yes, he has
Yeah.
observational skills. are
Observations
his
and hard work.
talent.
Yeah.
But I like the loose, flowy, like character designs and such, because we don't ever actually really see them dancing, and we don't hear the music that they're dancing to very often. But you do get a lot of sense of movement that has just happened or is about to happen due to like just the character poses, which is a lot of fun. Because there's like so much internally going on with the characters as you see like their different rivalries and their history and like what they've gone through to get where they are in whatever competition setting that they're currently being shown in.
I was surprised by the fact that the whole thing starts with clearly his attraction to the one girl, and then it definitely segs into this because I don't know what to make of. Like by the time the second like the 13 episodes, next 13 episodes rolled around, it was like, wait, so are they trying to actually set him up to be in some sort of antagonistic but loving relationship with his new partner, or is that supposed to, are we supposed to assume that that's not supposed to develop into a thing? And it's like romance in this series is not something that is they don't spend any time on really,
Yeah,
and
people
which is nice.
have
People just
a
are people.
variety of relationships with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a sport such as ballroom dancing with the competition aspect in it would be very hard to not have a close relationship of some kind with your partner,
Yeah. There's
specifically in an anime.
there's a whole intimacy to it, right? And that you're supposed to sync,
Yeah.
is what I'm being taught by the show. And then it's like, oh, does that mean they're trying to turn it? No, they're not turning it into anything else other than the fact that it's like you have to, it's like forming a combo.
Okay, Beej, do you have a next pick?
I do. It is, my other pick was Mahotsukai no Yome, which is also the Ancient Mage's Bride. And I didn't read this, and people kept recommending it on, I was in Something Awful forums, people were like, this manga's so good, you should read it. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should read it, but I don't know if like magic and fantasy is my kind of jam all the time. And then somebody's like, oh, well, what do you think about the fact that the whole thing opens with this 14-year-old girl or 15-year-old girl or whatever being auctioned off at a slave auction to this guy who buys her so he can make her bride? And I'm like, okay, I'm out. And people are like, that's not the point of the story. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if I want to watch this or if I want to read this, right? And so, but I kept hearing about how good it was. And I'm like, maybe I'll give it a chance someday. And then, Cori, I think you had said that, have you watched the OVAs? And I'm like, I haven't. And you're like, well, they're really good. And so when the series was coming out, I'm like, well, Cori told me I should watch this, so or at least said that it's really good. So
I said that you would like it.
yeah, and so I went to go watch it, and I was like, oh, holy crap, the TV show is so good. It's one of the things, like every week it comes out. Like I think even there's like a new episode out as of like last night or whatever. And I was like, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, Heather, can we please watch this? And she's like, no, we have to go to bed. We cannot watch. I want to watch it too, but we can't watch it. And I was like, I don't want to watch it right now.
Because we're in the middle, like.
We're episode 15, I think.
Yeah, it started last season. It's continuing on in this season as a show, and it's really well animated.
You were so right, Corey. He did like it.
Yeah, I do. It's so good, and it's like it was one of my favorite things that came out in last season, and it's just so because there's so much. There's a density to what's being told, and the fantasy aspects, the fact that it's present day, but all the fantasy aspects, there's so much they're telling, and there's so much that's like, it's like, oh, it takes place in England, actually.
Yep.
And it's based on, there's like elements of
Potterland.
the Fae are involved, but there's also dragons, but there's also like cats that can talk. Like there's all these things that I'm like,
they are normal cats.
I'm sorry.
All cats can talk. Human beings cannot hear them. They're
yeah.
dumb.
And there's a lot of drama.
Like in the, I guess the start of the OVA, it opens on like the interior of a shop, and there's like books and scattered stuff and like little spirits playing with it, and it just feels like a very full, active, living world, and it's fantastical.
Yeah.
Which is like rare.
Yeah, and there's these aspects of everyone, like you don't command magic and make magic happen. You work with the things that are magic, and you can create magic out of that. And Chise, the main character, her issue is that she's what's known as the Slay Baggy, and the Slay Baggy has an immense amount of magical power within them, and they constantly
leak it out.
generate it, but they constantly leak it all the time. And that's why Elias, the skull-looking dude, that's why he buys her from the auction for like £5 million or whatever. It's because he's like, I'm going to make you my apprentice. I'm going to teach you how to manage all this magic, and then I'm going to make you my bride. And it's like, what the hell does all that mean? But when you get through the series, when you start seeing what's happening, it's like, this makes more sense. You understand why these two people are the way that they are, and it starts uncovering more of what's going on. I really liked it.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, there's like, I understand why people have an issue with the child being bought thing, but there's like a whole backstory about how she came to be that way. Like, she signed herself up for that. And you can tell, like, depression and a lot of things going on there. And it's just kind of like, yeah, that seems problematic. There's reasons for it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
anyway, my other pick, actually, I talked about last time as well, is Keynote Abbey, which I only want to bring up briefly because it's a series that had an anime initially, has had another one. As far as I know, all the episodes seem like they're new, except for there's one where they go over her origin story again, like how she became a traveler, and I know they did that the first time. The last episode, if you're gonna watch one episode of the series and you want
Watch
to
the
watch
last
something
episode?
really weird, and I'm talking really weird, like sheep get exploded weird, the last episode is for you, and you should watch that one.
It never really grabbed me, so maybe I should just skip ahead to the end.
If you want something very action-packed in this show, because that doesn't happen
'Cause it's
a
typically
lot,
really slow.
It's generally quite slow. You should watch the last episode, Ian, and then that should satisfy you.
Okay, so
Okay.
what's the show about?
It's about Kino, who travels
Right.
on her bike, Hermes, her motor car,
Motorrad.
Motorrad, Hermes, who can talk, and most motorrads can. Nobody knows why, and no one cares. It's just there. And
Like, there's a lot of the context of the world that makes not caring about that just make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Or it's just
there-
like, there's lots of weird crap. Motorcycles can talk.
This season had a couple other characters show up where they spent a little bit more time actually focusing on them for a couple of episodes, and it had more of a couple episodes that you definitely need to watch in order if you're watching those characters, but almost every other episode is fairly self-contained.
Okay.
The idea is that she travels from country to country, and each country tends to have a quirk of some sort that then
They
you
have a
discover.
thing they're known for.
Yeah, they have a thing that they're known for. She stays for 3 days only, and then moves on to another country. And the idea is to create these short stories that are just supposed to be evocative of a moral or of a feeling or
Or
a
a thing that happens within society that now is like very blatant and pointed out in this one thing.
Yeah.
I actually think there's another episode you'd quite enjoy, Ian, where she's reliving or thinking about a story that her master told her, who taught her how to basically gun shoot and stuff, and it's almost kind of Lupin in feel about them being in a town and how they basically siege the town from the inside to get out.
That's yeah. might be up my alley.
Do you got anything else, Beej?
No.
Okay, so for my last one, Netju no Susume, which is also known as, I believe on Crunchyroll's The Recovery of an MMO Junkie.
Which is a terrible title.
That's not a good title.
Sounds like a light novel.
Yep.
It's
Probably is.
So this was probably one of my favorite shows this last season because it's about a woman in her 30s.
She's in her 30s.
In her 30s, she's quit her job because she's stressed out. She doesn't like it anymore. She comes home and she's like, you know what I used to do? I used to play MMOs. I'm gonna play an MMO. Which one's good? The internet says this one. I'm playing this one.
Never listen to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And she makes a character that's a guy. She runs around and she ends up meeting another character who's a girl, who, like trope-wise, you're gonna realize is played by another guy, and starts to really like this world, and it's great. And she's very much like, yeah, I'm gonna be a NEET, and I'm happy with it. And occasionally she has to go into the outside world, so she goes to like the convenience store, and it turns out that the guy who works at the convenience store also plays this game. He's not the one that she ends up kind of forming a relationship with, but he is in her party, and so now she's got like this real life friend that she's like, oh yeah, and it kind of feels like this thing of she's changed the way her life works, but she still has friends, and it's actually really positive.
Yeah, and she's like finding community and healing.
Yeah, and it's really
Yeah.
good. And there was this one episode where she went out on a date with this guy who she didn't really want to go out with, but he's very in her face and very like, oh, you have to go out with me because whatever. And he's very friendly. He's just like too overbearing.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to go out with him, and she goes and she gets a new outfit and dresses up and does the proper date thing because that's what you're supposed to do. And she goes out. She's just exhausted when she's done, and she comes home, and the most relatable thing happened. She just laid on the bed and she was like, that was exhausting. And I was like, yes, I understand. And then she was just like, I have to take my makeup off. I'm like, oh, yes, I understand. I'm so sorry. And then she takes off her makeup and she sits down to the computer. She's like, yes, this is the best thing ever. I'm like, yes, I understand.
You're finally making shows for us, Heather.
I know.
It's very sweet. It is a very sweet.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
It's very positive. It's she constantly asks her MMO friends for advice because she's like, I have to go out on a date, but I don't know how. And they all think that she's a college student because she's embarrassed to tell them that she's actually like this old lady in her 30s. Old lady because she's
Who's
past
also a NEET,
25.
you know, like
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cute. I like it.
Okay. I think that takes us to the end of our fall 2017 picks. Shall we just go down and list off and maybe mention our picks of the year for 2017?
Yes.
Sure.
Do you want to start this off, Beej?
I was going to say you could go first if you wanted to. Because,
Go first, Beej.
Okay, I will go first. My pick of the year for 2017 is Little Witch Academia.
Good choice.
Yes. And generally how I do, when I do my picks, it's what is coming on, like what have we just like got a new episode of that I cannot absolutely, like I can't wait to watch.
Yeah.
And this was the thing. It was like every time something new came out, it was like, no, gotta get this. We gotta watch this. This first thing we watch tonight is this, and it's wonderful animation. I thought it was a very interesting story, and we have talked about it a lot in the past because it ran 2 cour, and so we've already been through this. And if you haven't seen Little Witch Academia yet, you should definitely watch it.
My pick was also Little Witch Academia. So my basis for picking a show in the year, though, is to look at all the shows that I've watched throughout the year and say, which one did I enjoy the most? And so when I started in winter of 2017, because that's when the year starts, this show had started and I was like, I liked that one. And then I went to the next seasons and I was just like, there were other shows that were close. Like I really liked Welcome to the Ballroom and those ones, but I was just like, this was the one that hit me the most because it hits my personal flavor preferences. Magical girl, fun animation, so yeah, I went with that. It is on Netflix properly now,
Finally.
which
All of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it. Which, actually, interestingly enough, I know this is a bit of a detour, but the show Violet
Evergarden? Yeah.
is on Netflix, and they're doing it weekly in Canada and the UK and like the Philippines as it goes up. And so I've seen some people speculate that they think that maybe Netflix is testing that to see if they should just do that instead of the full season thing.
I guess maybe if it's
But-
if it's a series that they are not producing themselves, they could they're thinking about doing that, because at the same time they just dropped all of Devilman Crybaby in one big lump
Yeah.
everywhere in the world.
But I know Little Witch Academia was a sore point for people who wanted to subscribe to it on Netflix.
Yeah, because
Or to make their
they-
friends watch it.
Well, yeah, because it dropped
it was a broadcast
after
television
everything
show.
was done. They did it all at once, but they didn't. They did the first core, and then they waited several weeks and then lofted the other one. And it's just like that middle section where you're like, no, I really want more to happen.
Especially the way
very good.
trigger series work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the way they kind of like ramp up and
Do
build.
not watch the dub. I know people like dubs, but the character voices are wrong. Also, it's Netflix that did the dub or something, and it is not good.
All right, my pick of the year for 2017 was kind of based on like, yes, I enjoyed a lot of shows, but I found Made in Abyss the most surprising as far as shows that I enjoyed, just because like it feels like a very original property and in a complex world with character motivations that make sense and evolve, and you learn about the characters as they continue, but at the same time it's just like very pleasant to spend time with these people. And then it like hurts you for watching it and liking it
A lot.
a lot.
Every time.
And it's just like, why do I find these things specifically disturbing, and why do I care that any of these characters are in any kind of pain? It's
there are a
just
lot.
like, it draws you in and it makes you attached to things, and then it hurts.
Yeah, how many episodes did you start where you were like, maybe everything will be okay this time? Maybe.
No.
Oh look.
After like the orb piercer,
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
The minute we started realizing that no, everything in this place is there to kill human beings.
Yeah.
And that the stakes are real.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't make any bones about the kind of danger that they're in.
Yep.
It was very surprising for me
The
too.
bone piercer was that bird thing?
No.
Did the cry?
No, the
No,
orb piercer
that was the corpse sweeper.
Oh,
The,
right.
the orb
okay.
piercer was the psychic, spiky
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Porcupine.
Yeah.
that led to the arm thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The arm
If you
thing
wanna
was
talk
really.
about real body horror. This show's really got it in spades.
I like this. I don't know if I can return to it.
I have to return to it if they make more.
I have to
can't
know
not
what
know.
like what happens with the experiments
Yeah.
with like the cage that was dropped, and
Well,
what is at the bottom, and
As far as I know, they have enough manga currently published to do a second 13-episode run.
Well, they've already scheduled it, I think.
I don't. Oh, have they?
They've announced it.
Okay,
apparently,
good.
yeah.
Then that's
Okay.
so we'll at least get that, and maybe we'll have to deal with another pause before the next
Yeah.
run story. But I might have to switch to the manga for this as well.
I don't know if I can read the manga.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could read the manga.
I feel like it's kind of in the same territory as Read or Die, with like, hey, they made this really cool thing that's really cool to look at. Oh man, the manga's real about sex. There's a lot of sexy stuff happening in the manga.
Yeah.
Unpleasant, sexy stuff.
Yeah. And given the fact that Made in Abyss's main characters are about these 8-year-olds,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I don't. And that-
Still on the story.
Yeah, I know that's the thing, right? And it's like there's a level of value that's revealed in the anime that whatever is going on in the manga, if you're uncomfortable with that, it's like you should still be able to watch the anime
maybe
and
there-
still enjoy
there-
how bleak it is.
There are parts of the anime where if people noped out for any reason, especially body horror reasons, I would understand.
Yeah.
I would absolutely understand because I had a hard time watching with MIDI,
Oh yeah, this was one of the
particularly.
first series I referred to as relentless this past season, and it was hard to watch a lot of the time, and I just needed more of it. And I look forward to more of it as well. So that leaves me. And my pick for 2017's Anime of the Year, just to keep things different, and also based on the idea of the show that made me want more of it, more than anything else. I thought I loved Little Witch Academia, but I think it was a perfect story in itself, even though they have expressed desire to go off and tell other stories in that world, which would be great. But the story I want more of, more than anything else right now, is the story of Welcome to the Ballroom again. The ending of that show felt like it was just a beginning, and it feels like there's a lot more story to tell about this young man and what he eventually becomes through the series. He starts from nothing and works his way up to like top level ballroom performance, and now he's at the top of his game, just starting off on an even footing with the people with his peers that he's been working to gain up to. And we just have to stop. And this show was also relentless with how fast it was pushing. There was never any filler in this series, and I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
I'm hoping that's more of a thing too. Is that it's like we would, rather than make filler, we would rather just take a couple of seasons off.
Yeah.
And just wait until we can make you more.
I mean, okay, that depends on how you define filler, because I know some people will define it as basically anything that has nothing to do with the main plot. But I also like filler that falls under the category of maybe exploring other characters within that world, where you get to see more deeper into that. And I don't consider that filler, but I know that sometimes people will be like, oh, well, that's filler because it has nothing to do with this.
I think Beach episodes,
Yep.
when it's a show about giant robots fighting.
Yeah.
Those, okay, those I will just admit are probably pure filler. And if they don't show up, that's fine.
The filler I'm talking about specifically here, though, is that they're not stretching out like chapters of the manga or certain, I was going to say call them battles, but no, they're dances. Stretching out dances for more than one episode. It's like everything is very compact and nothing is longer than it needs to be. And they're still telling an incredible amount of story and pushing that story forward every episode. And I really enjoyed that, especially for a shonen sports anime.
Well, and the fact that they're spending so much time on other people who are his rivals, but also like his friends. I love that we're seeing more exploration there too. Like I do think that because it helps to humanize everybody, that everybody has their own drive for doing this in the first place.
That's what as I spend more time exploring shonen sports anime, that's what I find to be a very unifying feat. Is that when you start exploring the rivals more, you get more out of each interaction. So that was my 2017 pick of the year. Let's move on to our 2018 picks of winter.
Good stuff last year.
Yeah.
Did you want to start, Ian?
I'm sure, because I had nothing from 2017 fall, but boy, oh boy, do I have 2018 winter picks. I want to start off with, actually, let's start with Mazinger Z Infinity. So I'm going to talk a lot about, we're going to be talking a lot about Go to Guy today.
Yeah.
But that'll come later, because this is, as you may or may not know, Mazinger Z was a series from the 70s about a giant robot and the villainous Dr. Hell, and a young man who is able to pilot the Mazinger Z giant robot. It was more popular and overshadowed Go to Guy's other works, like specifically Devilman at the time, which made him a little bit unhappy, but hey, he got to make more things. And this is not a reboot of Mazinger. This appears to be a continuation of the story. I mean, the Mazinger Z timeline is, from my understanding, a little bit flowy, based on crossovers with other Mazinger properties.
I just always assumed it was like Monster of the Week.
I mean, it's kind of Monster of the Week, but always up against Dr. Hell, and they have they've got their own plans and whatnot. And for some reason, Dr. Hell is back. But the point is, this movie looks rad.
Yeah.
This is taking a goofy-looking 70s robot and just fucking
Treating it
shit up.
seriously.
Yeah, this movie looks like it's going to be intense and I think they're trying for a grown-up not message, but a rendering of the series, and I'm game for it. It looks great. It's coming out.
It did.
Yeah, a few weeks ago. So yeah,
When do we get it? Do we get it?
there is going to be at least U.S. showings in theaters coming up soon.
cool.
So check your listings. Google for
Maybe in the internet.
Yeah,
Check the internet.
check internet for Google
Mazinger Z.
Infinity.
Yeah.
And it'll be playing hopefully in your local area. I don't know when we're getting it, but the minute I manage to source a digital copy, I will let you know because
Nice.
the remix of the theme song's really great
Oh,
too.
good. I can't wait. and to be fair, I've never really liked the series because the little bits I've seen, I was kind of like, this seems very samey. And then seeing this, I was like, am I gonna like this? Because I didn't really like the. I love the theme song that we had, the thing that we had going on from university. But it's like watching this, I'm like, oh, there's every reason for me to enjoy
I
this.
feel lied to. I thought you really loved
No.
this show
no,
the way you
no,
talk
no.
about it.
Ian does.
Yeah, but you interact with him in such a way that suggests that you love it.
No, no.
You know what? I bet Beej doesn't even like Dune.
I read Dune just to understand your inside jokes. You do not tell me you do not love Dune.
I really like Dune.
Okay,
I really
good.
like Dune.
This is not the man I married.
Like. So that's my first pick. That's all I have to say about it because I'm just looking forward to it. I don't know anything about it, and I'm so excited.
Cori, then I guess.
Okay.
Let's just go down the line. Yeah.
I am going to start with Aiko Incarnation, which is a production from Bones. And it looks to be kind of like, I don't know, a Starship Troopers Biomeat Nectar style thing. There is these giant mutating monsters and people with guns to fight them, and a disease that wipes people out, and mystery and intrigue and romance on the battlefield. It just looks like cool fun. Look, there's giant meat tentacles that kill people.
I saw a serial number on somebody's eye.
Yeah, see? That is the sort of weird bonesness that it's...
Tiny liquid rodents.
So it's a I mean, it's his Netflix original series, but it is like original story by Bones, like by.
I actually didn't check. It's probably an original series.
So from what I saw, it's Netflix in Japan.
Yeah.
It is not, as far as I know, listed for any other places of Netflix. But, so do not be confused by the video showing in the background.
I actually had not heard of it at all.
It's not on a lot of the lists.
Yeah.
Ah.
Especially the list you use.
Yeah.
Oh, did you have to add it in?
Yeah, I added it to the spreadsheet.
I was going to say, I didn't sound like a familiar title, but it's great. It's good. The system is working.
Girl meets boy. She might have some sort of blood infection. He might be a superhuman. Who knows? We'll find out.
And if nothing else, the animation is going to be spectacular.
It's real good.
Hodor.
All right, for my first winter pick of 2018, Mira no Kaikata, or How to Care for a Mummy.
Oh, good. I'm glad Thundercats is finally getting the reboot it deserves.
So this
That mummy's alive.
this is a
This looks adorable.
It
very cute show. It starts off with you see this boy just like cleaning and stuff, and it's that typical probably doesn't have parents somehow, but his dad is in Egypt, and he gets a coffin in the mail from his dad, and he opens it, and the first thought he has is Dracula, because it looks like a vampire
It's got a cross
coffin.
on it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's made of
He's
metal.
Just,
like
he's
it's.
just like, what?
The cross with
And
which Horus was crucified on.
He opens the letter. It's this really thick letter. It's like, oh no, wait. Maybe even before he opens the letter, it starts to move, and he's just like, oh crap. Right. Dad sends stuff. The last time Dad sent a, what are they? The
Describe it.
the round New Year's. He put the I in.
Oh, the Daruma.
Yeah, a cursed Daruma that I had to fight off, and they show an animation of that. And then he's like, and then that lucky scarecrow that tried to murder me, and it shows a scarecrow trying to slice him up, and like some other cursed doll thing. And he's just like, I need to find a weapon.
Like it establishes that fast that all this supernatural shit keeps happening to him, and just accept it because he does.
And then adorableness.
Yeah, and then the coffin door slides open, and there's this tiny mummy, and he's like, what? And he reads the letter, and it's like, hey, I found this mummy. I think it's super cute. You should take care of it and keep it like family. And he tries to poke it back into the coffin because he doesn't trust it, and it starts to cry.
And it
then he
breaks
feels
your
bad.
heart.
So he wipes up the tears. He's like, no, you have to go now. And the mummy's like, does all these hand motions because it doesn't say anything. And it's just like, I'll do chores. I'll do chores if you will let me stay here. And he's like, I don't think you can. You're too small. And then it just like, it cries again.
Chibi Robo, but a mummy.
Yeah.
So
The only way this makes sense is if it's a mummified baby.
the dog.
No, that doesn't make sense.
The dog comes into the room, starts barking, and he's like, "Oh, hi, doggy!" He like pets it, and the mummy gets jealous, and the mummy starts barking to try and get. It's just so cute.
Yeah.
There's nothing weird about it in terms of how.
In fact, except that it's all very weird.
It's nothing sinister.
No.
No.
And it's I can't handle. Heather was like, "You'll like this. It's really cute." And I'm like, "I don't know how to care for a mummy. That sounds whatever." And then
I mean,
And I was like,
granted, it's not like your Monster Girls, but it's got the cutest mummy in it I've ever seen.
it's the best
like
mummy.
second episode, he's making little plushies of them because he's trying to make it pretend to be a plush if people see it.
Oh.
Because he's afraid to leave it at home because he doesn't want it to get.
And never, ever, ever unwrap it.
There's an instruction that says do not unwrap its bandages, and that's it. And then one of his friends tries to because he's like really curious, and he's like, I've been thinking, I think mommy bandages might be like human skin. How would you feel if someone tried to pull your skin?
Have you seen what a mummy looks like underneath its bandages? They're dried out people.
No,
This is a dried out baby.
This is if you push it on its stomach and everything, it's all very soft and weirdly soft. Like it's like you don't know when you push it. You're like, oh, why does it feel like that when I
I don't
squeeze
want to
it?
know. I don't want to know what's under its
Yeah.
skin. I want to live in the world where it's cute and everything is fine.
And we think there are other like weird mystical animals that are going to show
there
up as
are,
well.
'cause they show them in the
No.
opening. There's definitely like an Oni, and
There's the thing that eats your nightmares.
there's a thing that looks like that Pokemon that eats your
Scotch?
dreams. That the
Muna?
Yeah, Muna, but it's black, so
Not
I think
drowsy?
it might be based on a different. No, not Dream Pig, and then there's like a couple others they show in the opening. They have not shown up in the first couple episodes yet, so I can't speak to those. But Vampire Coffin is weird for Mummy.
Oh yeah, I'm down with Vampire Coffin.
Yeah.
I'm down on Vampire Coffin.
I'm going down on a vampire coffin.
No.
Hey Beej, what do you got for us?
Mitsuboshi colors.
Wow, that sounds like
Yeah.
Girls.
So it's like Initial D.
Oh,
What?
Okay.
No, it's not. This is. I'm reading the manga for this. It was recommended, and I'm like, it's about 3 little girls that run around a park and stuff. How is this going to be? It's so cute.
Is this like Girls Only Club Wacky Hijinks?
Yes,
Like,
that's
the Little
exactly it.
Rascals, But
Okay, it's girls who want to save the planet,
starting in their town?
starting in their town.
So they make a
keep-
secret group called Colors
Yeah.
that everybody knows about, and they live in they don't live in the park, but they spend a lot of time in the park, and they come up with missions in the way that you would have done when you were like 6 years old, thinking of things to do with your friends, and they come up with stuff to do. Where they end up running around town and ascribing a lot of importance and adventure to things that have no importance or adventure, getting into trouble, lots of hijinks. Each of 3 of them has a different personality. That's the leader.
This is by the Ichigo Marshmallow guy, right?
I have no idea.
I don't.
Okay.
But
No.
yeah, the leader is like she's a crybaby. The blonde-haired girl is a fucking troublemaker. She's the worst, and she's so fun. And then the blue-haired one wants to do
best
nothing
one.
but play her 3DS all
The
day,
best one.
and is the smartest
She
one.
goes looking. There's an entire portion where she wants to go and find street passes because she needs monsters for clearly what is a Monster Hunter game.
Yeah, there is a
Best one.
They encounter a cat that looks like a panda.
Cat is stupid.
And they end up calling it Colonel Monochrome, and they refer to it as Colonel. And Colonel lives in the place with
Let
them.
me-
They get a fucking RPG at one point and point it at a cop. They hate the cop. The cop's such an asshole. This show is
no,
so great.
That's not true. He is not an asshole. He's
No.
an adult who wishes they would go away because
Yes.
they spend too much time bugging him.
And the thing is that you don't know where it started. If they did it to him first, which they probably did, or he did it to them first, but there's this antagonistic relationship.
Let's be fair. One of the missions, which they did not follow through on, but they
No.
were trying to, was to clean the lake water by taking natto and throwing it in there because they saw on TV that natto could clean water.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just
They were going to save the planet by cleaning that lake.
Throwing
by
nasty
throwing-
beans in the
Yeah.
lake.
It's cute and it's hijinks, and I really adore it. I think it's just so much fun.
This is a series that is definitely meant for a certain type of person, and
That person is me.
That person is-
very Beej.
all right. I would next like to bring up Pop Team Epic.
Papa team.
I feel
How do
like
you
I
describe?
feel like people would get angry if we didn't.
I was not ready for Pop Team Epic
Neither.
It can be.
because
Okay, I have to say that the second half of every episode is like a repeat of the first one with minor changes, and I can't because I'm so overwhelmed by the end of the first half.
Yeah.
So
It's-
I can't do it again.
every 30-minute episode is broken down into 15 minutes shown twice with subtle to large differences between them, and it's like one of those scenes from a kids' TV show in the 80s where they say, "What was the thing that was wrong in Astro Boy's report? And if you get it right, he'll come play with you."
Except everything is wrong in Pop Team Epic.
Yes, and it's like you see it going. I couldn't find a PV for this.
Yeah,
so
I know. I looked too, and there was
I just
not
grabbed
one.
this video, which is apparently what did they?
Best of?
No,
Memes are in anime now or
yeah,
something.
memes and references in anime, and this is just the show. This is like every sequence is about 5 to 45 seconds long.
So are you? Because I have not actually watched it, but the way this is laid out reminds me a lot of like Robot Chicken.
yeah, it's
Yep.
very Robot Chicken-esque. It's very AMV hellish.
Yeah, I've been
Okay.
I've been describing it as AMV hell.
And it's so fast, and the jokes are it's just punchline after punchline after punchline with eye catches in between, and it's a lot of fun.
A word of advice: there's going to be French,
Yes,
and you have to watch the second half because that's where they actually will subtitle it.
yes.
Wait,
And it
like,
won't matter because nothing in this show matters.
Yeah, because
so spoken French.
it was
Yeah.
Yes.
spoken French, non-translated for the Japanese people. But in the
Introduced by a
second-
guy who looks like your brother.
Yep. But then you go to the second half, and it's all translated.
Yeah.
For no good reason other than, but all the voice actors are different, and I
But they
don't-
throw crap in like the Skyrim opening scene with the cart and the Totoro at the train station or the bus stop scene, and it's just like
wonderfully mosaiced out.
What
I'm
is
betting
this?
that was a choice, not even a
Yeah.
like you have to mosaic. They're like, no, let's just do this as weird as we possibly
they get
can.
hit by a bus. Yes.
So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I don't expect any sort of plot development, but I do expect a wild ride.
I hope not. Like a show like that, having plot, I think would bog it down.
Well, I don't even know how they do character development because they changed the voice actors for the characters.
Yeah, I don't even know if they have names, to be honest.
They do. It's Pipimi and Pepeko.
Popuko.
Pulpico. Yeah.
Good to know. They formed a political party.
Good for them.
The shitty party. The Pop Team
for
Epic
them.
shitty party.
That's literally what it is.
They have a bus that
Oh,
goes
I just
around
saw the
with like
Pokemon reference.
the characters, and that's Bob Team Epic where they changed the character design.
Yes,
I
it's
don't know
very
if I could
bad.
handle
They
this show.
weird lips inside the mouth.
It's frantic.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd have to watch it over a week.
Yeah.
Like
Just
one
take
segment at a
breaks.
time. Yeah. Oh.
Bang. Cori, what have you got for us this season?
I will pull up Hakata Tonkatsu Rowans, which is not about ramens.
No, but it's definitely the good show with the ramen title in it.
It's the good show with the ramen title, and it's from Satellite. And as far as I can tell, it is a multi-character mystery crime thing featuring hitmen and detectives, and there are crimes, and there is someone called the Killer of Killers, and it's a little adult.
Have you
but
seen any of it yet?
Nope.
There's the town that they focus in.
Yeah.
I think something like 90% of the people living there are assassins.
Criminals.
Assassins.
Yeah.
Specifically assassins.
That's why the Killer is important.
John Wick the series.
It's actually pretty good from what I've seen.
Yeah. But I expect it to continue to be interesting and a little complicated, which is something I like.
Well, the blonde character that they show off is actually a boy who's dressed as a girl who, from what I can tell, enjoys dressing that way.
yeah, just a
But
cross-dresser.
that's it. Like
Yep.
they're just cross-dressing.
Like in Kurage Hime, in Princess Jellyfish.
yeah.
kind of, without so much the fashion. Well, yeah, there's still a fashion aspect to it. They really
Yeah.
do enjoy the fashion.
This sounds neat, actually. I overlooked it.
Oh,
but-
really? I didn't think you'd like it, which is why I didn't show it to you.
No, I'll watch the first episode.
Okay.
I'll give it a shot.
Cool. Let's all watch the first episode.
Right now.
What you got,
Oh,
Honor?
moving on. Martian Madhen? It's German.
It's German.
Oh, okay.
Martian Madhen, I think, is how it's. I know it's Madhen.
Marken Madken.
That sounds.
Maiden.
I don't know.
Maiden is how the second part is said because they say the word in the show, so I know that's how that works. It's a magical show about. So there's a girl who they start the show off with the whole I don't have friends, and I don't mean I'm that girl who doesn't feel like she has friends and has a couple of friends or has acquaintances or doesn't have friends but just has a bunch of lovers. No, I just actually don't have friends. And the teacher's talking to her and is like, hey, you need to start fitting in. And she's like, I want to fit in. Stop telling me I don't. And she's just really into books. She ends up with this book that's called an original. And she has the original Cinderella. Mm-hmm. And that is magic because the book users is the way they're doing magic in this world. Mm. And she goes into, she sees a person with this weird cloak and she follows them because they dropped a thing. And then they go through a library that she's never seen before and they say Madhen and the doors open and she follows them. And then she's in magical land where there's a school and stuff. And what I like about it, other than the fact that it's clearly going to be some sort of magical girl show, and I'm into that, is that when she steps in, she's like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, wow, it's the world of magic. So is this like Harry Potter? Or like the Sunday morning magical girl shows? Or are we going to be like a serious battle magical girl show?
So
really?
she knows the tropes.
Yeah, and then a thing will happen. She's like, okay, cool. We're like the Sunday morning one. I can dig that. I'm going to learn magic, and it's going to be awesome. And then someone shows up, and it's like, you haven't told her about the thing where the fighting thing happens? Oh, this seems dark. Maybe we are the fighting magical girl one. And I don't really know what's going to go on with it, but it involves like fairy tales and magic and stuff. So
Books
it really hits all the points for me.
Cool.
Excuse me. I'm okay. Sorry.
No.
Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san. I really just screwed up the pronunciation on that for my fun. Or Teasing Master Takagi-san. Another manga I'm reading.
Right. This one.
Teasing master.
Teasing
That's
Master.
suspicious sounding.
So it's about that girl. That's Takagi-san, and her seat partner.
Oh, the teasing master.
This is Nishikata-san.
No, she's the teasing master.
And Nishikata-san isn't terribly bright because
That
he
is
keeps
true.
interacting with Takagi-san over and over because he thinks he can one-up her. He thinks he can get one over on her and find a way to make her embarrassed or whatever. And he can't because Takagi-san is way too good at teasing him. And I really like the manga, and I was like, okay, I wonder what the show's going to be like. It feels a little different in that because you can have pregnant pauses and stuff in a manga, and you can have like flowing through the panels and stuff in a certain way. And of course, then whenever you see something animated, you have to sit through the whole thing. When I watched the first episode, I'm like, this is not the same feel that I got from the manga. But as I've watched it, I've really enjoyed the anime and the take on it. And the thing is that Takagi-san always is like, she's never ultimately trying to tease him. Mm-hmm. It's always a thing of where he's trying to do something to like, I'll surprise her, or I'll do something to like, she won't expect or whatever. And she always finds a way to turn it and twist it around so that it ends up embarrassing him instead. And she is in love with him and will never let him know that. And it's wonderful because I hated being teased when I was a kid. By people who I even liked. I hated that, the whole aspect. Now I realize how much fun it is.
No, I want to ask, did you hate being teased by people because you didn't like being teased, or were they just really not good at it?
That's the part I hated.
I really hated how awful people were
Really,
at doing
really
it, right?
bad.
Like, if they could do really good jobs at it, maybe
I hated being wound up by people, like people who were pushing my buttons, and I still hate that to this day, actually, too.
yeah, it's generally not a fun thing.
But this is just really fun for me because it's kind of like, and it reminds me also a little bit of you teasing me from time to time, because you little bits. But it's fun in that
not
way.
as good as she is.
Yeah, I know, but it's fun in that way. I just think it's actually a really fun show. There's a one thing that I love is for the manga, and to mention this is that there's one chapter where they do a time skip like 20 years into the future, which is exquisite. But then also there's a based on that they said, we should make a spin-off manga based on that 20-year time skip, and they did. And then also which is also really good. And plus, the author has made a spin-off manga of this show about Takagi Son's three friends called Every Day is Sunday or Tomorrow is Sunday or something like that. But it's they take the short little bits from that manga and have like a minute or two in this show about her three friends that have nothing to do with the other two characters, and I love that too, that it's like, wow, you really went deep on everything that this guy has to offer. Like, we're going to show this too. I really like this. It's darling, and it's cute, and I'm watching him slowly realize, I think she might like me. There's no way that she likes me because she constantly teases me all the time.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Because I think the show is fine. I dislike parts of it. But
That's fair.
Is there an overarching plot? Like, does anything actually happen, or is it the same joke over and over again?
It is
Because
him.
it feels like the same joke.
It
over
is
and over.
essentially the same thing. He tries to do something to her. She inevitably figures out a way to make it backfire against him. It is more about character development than it is about plot development. It is more about slowly you see more about what the two people want, and about him trying to figure out what Takagi Son
but,
actually wants
like,
from him.
Does they?
There's no resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is what I want to know. Because
It's just for fun.
if I knew there was a resolution, I might be willing to stick through.
It's to me.
the
It's
joke.
like to me.
But
It's
I
like
don't- that doesn't appeal to me.
it's like My Neighbor Seki-kun.
Yes, which
I was
also
thinking
didn't
about
like.
that.
Yeah, it's about a girl who turns to see what Seki-kun is working on his desk, and it's always the same thing where it's like, I'm doing something amazing, and she gets drawn into it without meaning to him. Like, it's the same kind of feel.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Because I did
Like,
not particularly care for that.
I found that I enjoyed Seki-kun, but didn't have any desire to watch all of it.
That's fair.
I can't high school slice of life anymore.
I'm aware.
I just can't.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Speaking of which,
Do you have a high school slice of life as your next pick?
maybe it will be. I don't know.
I just looked at what the choice was.
A few years back, Trigger came out with a series called Kill la Kill, which was
Oh.
a spectacular series that had some problematic elements to it. But I'm now just finally not having to explain all the time now that I've managed to properly, get all of my thoughts in Kill la Kill in order. So this season we have something called Darling in the Franxx, and I will always pronounce those two X's.
That's good.
Yeah. I needed this in my life because this is Trigger doing what they do best. Trigger is a studio I think we can all say we love, at least one of their works.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
You love Little Witch
I
Academia.
love one of their works. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to stop that sentence as we can all say we love Trigger.
No.
No.
I can't guarantee that. Trigger I look at as a second generation auteur production house, in the sense that the first generation of Gainax being, or all of Otaku House, I think is maybe even a better way of putting it. Gainax was the first studio out there that really was a studio of anime fans, and so you see a lot of their influences in their work. Trigger came out of Gainax as sort of their second unit, I guess, and they spun themselves off after the Evangelion. Yeah, after Evangelion, or after Gurren
Gurren
Lagann,
Lagann.
yes,
Yes.
specifically is the project they worked on, and then made their own studio. And you can see here a lot. I'm seeing a lot of very specific choices that they're making in this series as riffs on Evangelion and some other older series.
Like Beej, if you took Evangelion and smushed it with G Gundam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
It's weird.
But also, I think that the point of this series is they're trying to tackle the issues of feminist empowerment and gender roles. And I'm getting this from only the second episode, which is going to be... There's going to be talk about this series as being equally problematic as Kill la Kill was.
It's the framing shots on a lot of the female characters
Are very...
wearing their skin-tight outfits, and they're basically straddling like a motorbike thing,
Yeah.
and they have a monitor that pops out of the back of their head, basically, and
Two handles
there's
come...
handles come off of their hips, and the other person
so these-
stands behind them and like operates them to operate the machine.
Yeah, the mechs are called Franks, and they require
Okay.
two riders, two people to pilot. The women who seem to be the ones who actually do all the work of piloting,
Yeah.
because they have to. The pilots are known as parasites, and the women interface with the machine. And it's been shown so far in the second episode, at least, that they can move the machines independently without the male assistance. But
Yeah.
it's extremely. The effort of piloting these machines is extremely effort intensive. And so I don't know where it's going. The main character is someone who has lost their partner, and then this girl comes out of nowhere who's a extremely good pilot, but also the partner eater, they call her, because no one can fly with her more than 3 times.
The main character didn't lose his partner so much as he is unable to work with people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is this one of these things where you're like, I'm watching this because it's like, this is by a studio that makes a lot of works I really enjoyed and respected, and I need to know why they made this and what was the motivation.
No, this is a series that is just it's tight, it's bolted in.
Oh, so it's very
Yeah.
well
It's
produced.
extremely well produced.
There are other shows that Trigger has done that I know Ian hasn't even bothered
Yeah.
watching because he's looked at and he's
Yeah, I can.
not your
he's
jam.
stated, I think they're just doing this to make money to make other projects even.
Okay.
And this appears to be, this to me feels like it's actually a combination of Moneymaker and. I was a little bit worried in the second episode because it felt like things are. When we started to see the way that they were piloted, I'm like, okay, is this just for fan service? Is this just to titillate and bring it in? And the scenes are very uncomfortable, and there's no it's all very matter of fact.
Like it's meant to make you think that the fact that we're seeing this and the fact that it's being presented in this way is to make you address the fact that why is this causing
there's an actual
discomfort?
there's a
Yes.
choice in there that's specific
And it's
for it.
tied to the narrative and the character development.
Yeah, I do have this one on my list to check out. I haven't had a chance to yet, though.
As I've been recently rating anime in terms of accessibility,
Yeah.
I would put this one in the intermediate to advanced tier.
Yeah.
This is not a baby's first anime. This is
No.
This is a work this is a work to be dissected later on as it comes on, and I'll definitely be talking about this in the next season, I think.
Neat.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes because the music is fantastic, the animation is fantastic, the mechanical design is fantastic. Trigger knows better than any studio out there how to make things look massive.
And they call the monsters Klaxosaurs because of a weird translation finagling.
But it's a perfect
like
name
it.
for it.
It's a good name.
That's Cori.
My last pick for the season of Winter 2018 is Devilman Crybaby, which I have already seen all of. Because we had to watch it all in one sitting after Ian got back from MagFest. It was like the very first thing. It's like, Ian, walk in the door, sit down, we're watching this.
Well, it all
Speaking of
dropped on
things-
Netflix, right?
Oh yeah. Speaking of things that are extremely erotic and meant to make you feel uncomfortable.
And violent
Yep.
and heart-wrenching.
So what is the story?
So the story is that a young boy named Akira one day found this other boy named Ryo kind of abandoned, and they kind of became friends and grew up and kind of grew separate, but maintained their relationship. And so Akira is at high school. he has a love interest girl that he's trying to kind of like get a little closer to or protect or make her see him as like a potential partner.
He's a mild-mannered guy.
And then Ryo shows up with a bunch of guns and drags him off to an underground dance club party and infects him with demon blood and then starts stabbing people with broken bottle because the violence and the blood will make the demons awaken.
Yep.
And from there it goes into just the cycle of creation and death of Earth.
Okay.
The Ryo character literally shows up on a bridge in a white coat with some guns saying, hey, get over here, come with me.
Yeah.
And the girlfriend says, no, don't go with him. And he does, and that's the start of the show.
Yeah. And so the show is Akira trying to deal with the influences of the demons and not let them necessarily take over his humanity while fighting the demons and trying to kill them and trying to keep the people that he cares about safe while Ryo is trying to manipulate him from behind the scenes. And the best character's named Psycho Jenny, and you probably see her
Right there.
right, coming up. Just a giant head with little legs.
It's
legs.
in plot. There's discussion about demons becoming real and how the world would deal with that. And then there's the small scale and the large scale, like in this series, in terms of the importance of the plot, and it's really good.
And so in the canon of this series, they watched the original Go Nagai Devilman, and that's the inspiration for
Doing this in the first place, for
Doing
setting
this-
the plot in action.
for making Akira into a Devilman.
We should also mention that this is directed by our favorite director.
Oh yes, Masaaki Yuasa.
Yeah.
So prepare for some bizarro animation
Yeah.
if you decide to watch this, and remember that it's very sex heavy and violent.
It comes with a trigger warning list literally a mile long, and I would classify this as very advanced anime.
Yeah, I know it looks advanced in terms of you probably want to watch some other stuff if you've never seen anime before.
I think
Yeah.
it's probably it might be a good introduction to someone who's never seen anything,
I
but
think it's going to depend on the person. Like,
Yeah.
you really have to know that. Like, I wouldn't make that as a generalized statement.
no, I mean you could do it, but it would be someone would have to be comfortable with seeing extreme violence, sex, and
I would make someone watch like Parasite the Maxim before this. Because it's got the kind of same level of violence, at least, without the sex stuff.
but it is a nice self-contained story. There's not
Yes,
a lot.
it's completely self-contained.
There's nothing you need to understand about Devilman or any other anime going into this to be able to fully appreciate it. I think we'll be talking about this one for a while to come, just in the general community.
All
What you
right.
got?
My last pick of winter is Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card Hen, which of course it is, and it will probably, unless something
God,
really
what a tonal shift.
Totally, yes.
really good comes out this year, this is gonna be high up on my favorites list. So Cardcaptor Sakura had an anime a long time ago. We all know that. This is a continuation. I've been talking about it on Twitter a little bit because I've been like, it's so good, it's exactly what I wanted. And so people have asked me, is it just a remake? And it's not, it's a continuation in the story. And then I get asked, do I have to watch the original before I can watch this one? And I don't think you need to. My like, you're gonna miss out on some context with some certain characters and whatnot, but the way I look at this is, you could jump in original Sailor Moon. If you jumped in on season 3, you would understand the story and what's going on. You'd miss out on like
Hot Boys.
why some stuff is going on, like why some previous stuff has happened maybe, but you're not really gonna miss out on like the overarching thing. And so now they're in their first year of middle school. Sharon's come back from Hong Kong.
Tomoyo still likes filming her.
Yeah, Tomoyo. Everybody's exactly how you remember them if you saw the original.
Because it's only been 2 years later.
Because they're a little bit taller, but they look pretty much the same.
How proportioned are they?
school uniform
Oh,
is very much the same.
The ending is way better at making them look like they actually belong in middle school.
Yeah, but they look like the style. Like it feels like we're off for a season and now we're back and here's more Cardcaptor Sakura, and it's just more like, hey, all the cards have turned clear.
And everyone has smartphones now.
What are you gonna do about that? And
The internet exists.
Kiro's Corner comes back.
Hooray! Go
Those little
Karo-chan,
things.
check.
The first episode actually has a lot of parallels with the very first episode in the first season, in terms of the streets she walks down and the angles with the stuff.
You know
and
that
she
part-
like grabs a pole where like she's rollerblading, but she grabs the pole and she's just walking because she's not using her rollerblades anymore.
Same angle,
And-
same everything
Yeah,
else.
like
Nice.
it's very good in that sense. This is literally what I wanted Sailor Moon Crystal to be.
Same,
like, hey,
from the way you're
kids,
describing
do
it
you
from the
like
scene,
nostalgia?
yes, I agree.
Just, maybe like a different flow with the story or whatever, but like to feel the same. And this just feels the same. So if it's like, if you already liked Cardcaptor Sakura, you're going to like this because it's more of the same. It's a continuation of the story. It's cute.
It's weird to hear her "hoe" again, because I'm like, that they don't drop that at all, and it's like, oh, I would have thought we would have seen that kind of be toned down a bit. But
It's gonna be weird for me because I only watched the dub.
And she, that is definitely going to be weird. But it's just like, she's going out for cheerleading club.
They're
She's
using
cheerleaders.
all the same background music.
I was gonna ask. I was like, on a scale of 0 to Catch You Catch Me, how is the opening?
The opening theme, I literally thought they
Okay.
could just drop "Catch You Catch Me" in at the
I wish
front.
they
It would have
had.
been the same thing.
It would have been.
Get on it, internet.
The theme they've chosen is not terrible, but it's not the one I want.
It opens with her toe hitting the water. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god! Like,
Yeah, they make the allusions to the.
they know exactly who's
My-
watching this.
My understanding is that some of the original animators and voice actors are on this as well.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I thought I read a thing about that, and
I think
I
they
still
think the
clamp,
animations are
so-
definitely true.
Could still be.
Yeah, I think they got a bunch of them back. I remember seeing specifically the white-haired brother, whose name escapes me at the moment.
But I've actually
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
I've seen people putting
Ogata Megami.
screenshots on the internet from the second episode because like trouble has just kind of started, and she's talking to her friend. She's like, "Well, I've got a lot going on right now. I can only really do the best I can, so this is what I'm gonna do." And I'm like, "Yeah."
I would
Magical
absolutely
girls.
guarantee that the discussion about Sailor Moon Crystal happened in the room when they were talking about this. Like, how do we avoid a Sailor Moon Crystal situation for this?
And there's definitely more like clearly her and Shoran like each other, and I don't think they're going to explore that quite to like a degree of like maybe a romance show would, because
But
it's
it's
still
there.
middle school. They're aware of it,
But
and
it's super
there's
pure-hearted, yeah.
flushing and whatnot.
And maybe we'll finally get to find out how to spell Sharon's name properly.
It is with a Y.
But how many?
What you got, Beej?
My final pick for the season is Hakume to Mikochi, or Hakume and Mikochi, because those are their names. And it's Tiny Little Life in the Woods. Is a subtitle that's included with this as well. And it's about little bean-faced, you'll see them here eventually, tiny little human-esque looking
Not like Made in
gnomish
Abyss,
sprites.
it's different.
You said Beanhead, and I want it to be like the forest spirits from Ghibli crap.
That-
I'm just
that-
remembering
No.
the Masaki Yuasa Beanhead Man.
No, no, they're not
There
going
was
down
such a Beanhead man.
Yeah. So that's Hakume, and Hakume is Hakume and Mikochi. The two of them, they live together. Hakume, she's a handyman. Her thing is that she goes out and she helps build things, and Mikochi tends to stay around the house, but also is like very good at being a homemaker, and also finds ways to. They're both rather independent, and they're both making a living doing the things that they enjoy. They live in the same house. This is just a thing of. They live in this little house that's set into a tree, and there are animals, and the animals are all right-sized for the actual environment. These are just tiny little people.
They're like borrower sized.
Yeah, they're like borrower-sized.
borrowers.
All the animals talk. They go to work with
Not
the animals
all
and
of
do
them.
things. Well, okay,
That
the
bird
fish
did
don't
not
talk.
talk.
No, and that bird doesn't talk. But a lot of the animals talk. They're all
Do
sentient.
they kill and eat the animals?
No. I mean, well, I
Well-
think they eat fish, but it's like
Not that they've shown yet.
and they make like they make things. The animals have jobs, and there's lots of these people. It's not just Takami and Mikuchi. There's lots of these little borrower people.
Do the animals wear clothing?
Some of them do.
Oh no, wait, they did eat. They were catching fish.
Yeah.
I remember that in the market
Right.
now.
And it's
Fish aren't real people.
so pretty. If you like forestscapes, this show is full of forestscapes.
Looks
And
cute and adorable and tiny and green.
yeah,
Thanks.
there's
I
lots
hate
of
it.
that going on. It's just so. I really love this. I love the manga. The manga's intricately detailed, and they've done a great job in bringing that kind of detail to life in the show.
It's very lighthearted. It's very laid back.
And
It's
they're-
very much up Beej's alley.
Yeah, there's no plot where it's like we have to save the world or we have to save the forest or we have no. It's like
There's no
oh,
plot.
we have to repair this retaining wall, or Mikochi comes up with a thing
There's
where
no
it's like
overarching plot,
I'm making
as far
jam.
as I can tell.
And so I'm going to make jam and I'm going to sell jam. Or we have to go to one of the towns and buy we have to buy food and stuff because we're there on a shopping trip
This
and we're
is
going to
a
explore
slice
the
of
town.
their life.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I hate it.
That's fine. I don't fucking care.
Nope, that's exactly
I-
right.
This is
I've-
my jam.
Yep.
I've watched the first couple episodes of Beej, and it's very pretty.
Yeah.
It's definitely, if you're into slice of life fantasy style type slower show, this will be for
It
you.
looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm into this one,
that's fair.
but it is very pretty.
All right, I'm done.
Does that cover everything?
Yeah.
Okay, well that brings us to the end of our recommendations for the coming anime season and our recap of the past one and also our favorite of 2017. But you know who the real favorite of 2017 is? It's you, the viewer at home, especially if you're one of our famed contributors at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun.
Your names are sung through the ages.
Yes, what you do there helps keep the lights on here, and they are very bright.
Do not look at them.
No.
It helps us continue to do what we do.
No. I'm trying to picture the Patreon supporters as an anime, and it's overwhelming.
It's going to be a very big harem anime. So,
Oh, and thank you to our sponsor, Nobody.
that's
What?
right.
What?
Sorry, it's just we always thank sponsors on everything. It's like, we don't have a sponsor.
That's all right.
We've never
I will
done-
sponsor this show.
Nice.
Thanks to our sponsor, Cori
Cori.
Dickinson.
Woo!
Dickinson.
She has sponsored at least 25% of the talking on the show.
I did not do 25% of the talking on the show, and you know
30%
it.
of the talking on the show. I can make the number higher.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We will see you in another quarter for more anime recommendations and reviews. Don't go away. You can go away now.
Bye.
Enjoy the rest of your commute.